Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Turn the camera back on. If you guys only knew how stressful doing this is for me. I don't pretend to be an expert at it, but I'm trying. So I want to start off today with a little something different. The video from 3rd Assault Brigade, and it's a story of a guy that was wounded in Avdiivka. Had arm amputation, has gone through some rehabilitation, and well, here's his story.
Я Олег, я однорукий ветеран.
Тетяна Яловчак.
Ми в Грузії.
Нас підвезли до подножжя гори Казбек.
Ми зараз будемо заходити на льодовик.
Ворнінг.
Допомогти?
Дякую. 4,397.
Фу, хорошо, бо я вже переживати почав, що тільки мені хуйово. Думаю, ніхуя ся там всі спортсмени.
Спортсмени і бігати в горах то різні речі.
Дякую.
Давай, вот это, сука, альпінізм. Трошки притульнутися друг до друга, то стоять нам важко. Коли-небудь були схожі враження?
Ні.
Осталось 40 метрів до вершини. Треба вставати, бо зараз промокнемо, сніг
Давай.
пішов.
Сьогодні ми піднялись на 5000 на гору Казбек. Це сходження я хочу присвятити всім загиблим воїнам. Ми пам'ятаємо кожного з вас. Клянусь, побратими, брати, ще не було ні дня, щоб ми заснули і не подумали про когось.
Думав, що буде набагато легше.
Здесь мы пойдем тихо-тихо, а потом уже новым следом. И чуть-чуть больше эти следы. Чем больше следу тебя, тем хорошо он крепится.
Окей.
Ми пішли, тому що, дивіться, якісь у нас тучі. Снігові тучі.
А туди вниз просто з'їхати не можна?
Фильмуй меня.
Yeah, professional YouTuber, I am not. Embarrassing. Anyways, Third Assault has started putting out a weekly report on the enemy losses for the week. This report is from the 13th to the 19th. 333 200s, 334 300s, 6 drones destroyed, 1 tank damaged, 2 trucks destroyed, 6 damaged, 3 artillery destroyed, 7 damaged, 1 BMP destroyed. Oh, in there I do trying to scroll again. Okay, I just got to keep my hand off the mouse for when I'm in Telegram. Because the videos on here can get you spanked by YouTube really quick. 3 supply depots, or 4 supply depots. 6 Shaheeds FPV drones destroyed. 191 damaged. Oh shoot, I don't know what that is. Communications equipment, 13 destroyed, and 7 bunkers destroyed. So you can scroll through their Telegram channel and find the listing for last week. 294 200s, 262 300s, 10 motorcycles destroyed, 1 damaged, 2 BMPs damaged. Looks like they're taking out a lot of artillery. Oh, I gotta stop scrolling. But it goes through. And so this week they destroyed a tank bridge layer and more than 300 Russians in the Kharkiv region. Updated data on the losses and occupiers for the past week in the Kharkiv direction. 303 occupiers are now 200, 334 remain 300. Fighters eliminated the MTU-74 armored engineering vehicle, which is the bridge layer, with which the enemy was going to build an additional crossing for the logistics of heavy armored vehicles. Several 120th and 82nd mortars burned. I'm guessing that's supposed to be 120 millimeter and 82 millimeter mortars. They also destroyed the Groza 04M enemy anti-aircraft missile system. But they shot down aerial targets, drones, and Lancets. The tank was hit, 5 guns were hit. In small equipment, the enemy lost 2 more motorcycles. Watch the videos, but I'm not going to do that here because there's some graphic information on that. But anyways, I just wanted to give a little bit of the update for Third Assault. It's kind of nice that they're doing that for their own unit right now. Go into the ZCU news. The 20th, yesterday at 10 p.m. Well, let me get a drink here. Throat's drying out. The defense forces continued to courageously hold the defense of Ukraine. Since the beginning of the day, there have been 167 combat clashes. The enemy has launched 1 missile strike, 54 airstrikes using 99 glide bombs, more than 560 kamikaze drones, and carried out more than 3,000 artillery strikes on the positions of our troop in populated areas. There were 4 combat clashes with the Russian invaders in the Kharkiv direction. 2 attacks in the Volchansk region were repelled, and 2 or more are ongoing. We go into up by Kharkiv. Again, they're talking about this area here, and what they're what Third Assault's talking about is in this gray zone. There's a river. Russia's been trying to get bridges across here to be able to push into Pavlivka and Staritska. Anyways, they've been trying to get across this river, and Ukrainians have been holding it pretty well, keeping it in the gray zone for quite a long time. In the Kupiansk direction, the enemy tried 11 times to dislodge our units from occupied positions near Globivka, Kolesnivka, Lazova, Pishchani, Vishnevo, and Novosinoyo. 4 attacks were still ongoing. Again, Kupiansk, Bishivny, Lvova, Savinka. I don't see the other one. Oh, I don't see the other ones offhand, but Russia's trying to push in this area, trying to get to that reservoir to make a more hard defense line. Get ready for the Liman direction. 20 times the enemy attacked in the Lomansky direction. Tried to advance in the direction of Grivka, Novomykolaivka, Yampolivka, Novosadavo, Turny, Zarinsky, Serebryansky, and the Sebryansky Forest. Our units managed to repulse 19 attacks. Another battle in the Novomykolaivka area is ongoing. See if I could find... My attorney's right here. And I can't seem to see the other ones on the map. But they're somewhere in this general area. From Vishny and Drivka down to about here is where they usually cut it off. In the Savrisk direction, 1 battle is ongoing near Ivano-Darivka. At the same time, Russian occupiers dropped 11 guide bombs in the Savrisk district. If you know K2 Battalion, K2 operates in this area, and they're putting out some really hard videos lately. I wish I could show them, but not on YouTube. But yeah, so still a pretty active area. 2 combat clashes took place in the Kramatorsk direction. The occupiers were active in Stupovny districts as all attempts of the enemy to improve their position were stopped by the Ukrainian soldiers. The enemy dropped 4 aerial bombs in the areas of Chasov Yar and Stinka settlements. Well, we all know where Chasov Yar is. But that other settlement is the first I've heard of. And I'm not seeing it on the map. That's getting down in the Toretsk. So it might be one of the small villages or a district of Chasov Yar. Or it could even be in the back area here. So just kind of looking really quick. Yeah, I can't seem to find it, but oh. I'm guessing it's this village here. With an unfortunate name. Hi, Niels. So, yeah, on Deep State map, it's Stinky. And Stinka. The aggressor tried 4 times to penetrate our defenses in the direction of Toretsk. Since the beginning of the day, the occupiers in Toretsk and Serbinivka areas have been repulsed 3 times by our defenders. 1 attack is still ongoing. Again, Toretsk, Serbinivka. Yeah, Russia really wants to take this, but they want, it's, well, you can see here, they're still trying to push out through this field and encircle the town a little more. Mainly because the Ukrainians hold the high ground on these tailings from the mine. And the defense is holding in Toretsk very well. I'm just hopeful that they can stop the advance here. As you can see, New York is almost completely under control. There's a little subdivision right here to the north of it that's Ukraine still defending. New York has been, well, you can see here the line for the 2014 Little Green Man operation was really close by to New York. So it has been facing Russian assault for almost 10 years. Okay, I see the best name of a town ever. I'm wondering if you're referring to New York or Stinky. You know, that's the Toretsk direction, Pokrovsk direction. The enemy is intensively attacking Ukrainian defenders in Pokrovsk direction. Here, during the day, the aggressor carried out 45 assault and offensive actions. The greatest activity of Russian occupiers remain in the areas of Seladov, Promin, Nikolaevka. Ooh, that one's going to be a tough one for me. Zavdrivhinka, Mirolubivka, Novotoriska, Suyar. In total, Ukrainian defenders have already repelled 41 attacks in the direction. 4 more clashes are ongoing. The situation is difficult but controlled by the defense forces. Our soldiers are making efforts to prevent the enemy from advancing deep into Ukrainian territory. According to the currently available information, the aggressors' losses in this direction amounted to 490 killed and wounded today. Well, yesterday. Of which 257 people were I can't even do English. How do you expect me to do Ukrainian? Dang it. 257 people were irreversibly injured. 1 tank, 9 armored personnel carriers, 4 cars, 2 BMPs, 3 buggies were destroyed. In addition, 2 tanks, 3 more armored personnel carriers, 4 cars, 2 enemy guns, and 1 motorcycle were damaged. So 45 attacks, basically ranging from around here, coming over here to Seladov. Yeah, this is a very, very active front for Ukraine at the moment. And then this little pocket here is probably where it is the worst. It is the hottest now in the Kharkiv direction. At this time of the day, there were 53 combat clashes. The invaders remain highly active, trying to advance in the areas and the settlements of Henrysk, Novodonivka, Kharkivka, Konstantinivka, Milanivka, Antonivka, Kharkova, and Vodeny. The units of the defense forces repelled 51 attacks, and 2 attacks are still ongoing. So, Herny, Kharkivka, Vochenka, so yeah, just literally this little area here, 53 attacks in one day. 53 meat waves by the Russians in one day. Hey, Slow Evil, how's it going? Yeah, 53 attacks in one day in that little 20-mile area of that town, around that town. 11 skirmishes took place in Verminsk direction. 7 assaults were stopped in the Bogoyavlinka area, 1 near Novo-Ukrainka. 3 more fights are still ongoing. The situation is controlled by the defense forces of Ukraine. Also, the enemy actively used aviation in the area of Novodorivka, Bogoyavlinka, Velika, Novoselivka. Vermitz direction is here. You know, you may have heard of Blahodotny, but this area is basically just north of Chasiv Yar, or not Chasiv Yar, Volodar. So they had their success with Volodar and are still trying to push in this area. Trying to push north to support the Kharkiv and Seladov and Pokrovsk attacks. You may think this is minor, but I mean, they have a concentration of troops ready to go in. In the Orderheap direction, 3 unsuccessful enemy attacks were repulsed by our defenders during the day in Robotno. In the Dnieper direction, our soldiers repelled the attacks of the Russian invaders on the positions of the Ukrainian army 6 times. Orahip is here. Again, 6 assaults. I'm guessing mostly in this area. This is where they've been really trying to push. Hey, Blue. Better late than never, right? Defense forces of Ukraine continue the operation in the Kursk region. Enemy aviation continues to strike with guided aerial bombs on the territory of Russia. Currently, 21 airstrikes are known with the use of 43 bombs. There were no significant changes in the situation in other directions. 43 bombs that Russia has sent on its own territory. Its own villages, its own infrastructure. And it just goes to show how little they care for civilians, their own, Ukrainian or otherwise. Today they're honoring... Sorry, it's getting cold out, and all the flies are deciding to come in the house. Today they're honoring the 128th Separate Mountain Assault Brigade, the 35th Separate Marine Brigade, 25th Separate Airborne Brigade, 79th Separate Tavarian Assault Brigade, 60th Separate Mechanized. I'm not going to try that one. In extreme difficult conditions, they held back the attacks from the enemy's superior forces, causing him irreparable losses. Glory to the Ukrainian soldiers, glory to Ukraine, and of course, Heroям Slava. Unfortunately, one of those is me, Putin. I got it on my other screen so I can read chat, but I haven't hit the like button yet. That's the update from ZCU today. Recruiting service is available on the Reserve Plus application. So they're letting Ukrainians that get drafted pick where they want to go still. So they're talking about the Buk air defense system that was destroyed. So not the greatest picture of it, apparently. On the night of October 21st, units of the Forces of Unmanned Systems of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, in cooperation with other components of the Defense Forces, hit the Buk M3 anti-aircraft missile system. The complex was located about 60 kilometers from the battle line. Depending on modification, its cost can be from 40 to 50 million US dollars. And they're already saying next. Yeah. All the units that it took to coordinate this, that is like the definition of Razum de Pereможemo. Together to victory. So Zerinsky held a meeting on improving training for military personnel. Update of 8 o'clock in the morning for today. Okay, this looks interesting. The championship of FPVs. Hold on a second. I got another target of my own. I keep taking out these flies like this. They're going to recruit me to the air defense. More than 15 teams from different parts of Ukraine demonstrated high-tech samples of unmanned systems of their own production and competed for first place in the ability to pilot FPV drones. Representatives of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, National Guard, and National Police and manufacturing companies discuss ways of further development of the industry. Such competitions demonstrate not only the skill of the Ukrainian FPV pilots, but also in practice allow you to familiarize yourself with innovative models and evaluate their capabilities. We constantly communicate with manufacturers and accompany the process of testing and codification of their samples. Said this guy, Antoli. We can already see ready-made technological solutions and directions for their further improvement for more effective performance of combat missions. Ukraine's going to come out of this war being the premier drone manufacturers of the next 20, 30 years. So, wake up, politicians. We want Ukraine on our side, not on Russia's. Any other news worth? I want to take a sneak peek at the 8 o'clock report. So, they go over with the past 24 hours, 197 combat clashes took place. Ooh. So, in the past 24 hours, from 8 o'clock this morning, so, yeah, 8 o'clock in the morning is like the midnight for me, so that's might be a better one to read, but I like the other one better. Okay, so kind of recap yesterday. Russia lost 1,710 people yesterday. I want to see how that compares. Let me move that off the screen. Come on, open up. There we go. So, put that there. So, 1,710 people. 24 tanks. 64 armored combat vehicles. 24 artillery systems. 1 air defense vehicle. 46 operational tactical unmanned aerial vehicles. 47 vehicles and 3 units of special equipment. So now I know where they're getting all the information from for these graphics. Interesting enough. I'm going to go back into Telegram.
Бажаю здоров'я, шановні українці.
And get that large size. I'm jealous, but it's understandable that the president would have everybody's patches. On the other side of him, of this window here, he has another setup like that for all the unit patches.
Бажаю здоров'я, шановні українці і українки. Сьогодні є нове рішення Сполучених Штатів по підтримці України, новий оборонний пакет. Обсяг $400 мільйонів. Готується іще окремий пакет фінансування на виробництво українських дронів – $800 мільйонів. Україна вдячна за цю підтримку. Нам потрібно, щоб, попри будь-які загрози політичного характеру у світі, Україна могла незмінно захищати свій суверенітет, свою незалежність. І обов'язково це буде. Кожна зустріч з партнерами. Це розмова, зокрема, про оборонно-промисловий комплекс. Також сьогодні з міністром оборони США Остіном ми говорили про реалізацію нашого плану перемоги, про конкретні кроки, які можуть реалізувати пункти плану. Ми потребуємо рішучості партнерів, особливо на тлі інформації про нову роль Північної Кореї у підтримці Росії. Очевидно, що Путін боїться миру і саме тому шукає, як посилити агресію і залучити на фронт тепер і Північну Корею. Для усього світу це очевидний сигнал. Хто хоче тільки війни. І в такій ситуації я вдячний кожному лідеру, кожній державі, які зараз збільшують підтримку України, які підтримали і перший інаугураційний саміт миру, допомагають нам також готувати другий саміт, готувати його так, щоб він став справді результативним. Більш ніж 100 країн і міжнародних організацій були з нами на першому саміті миру. Всі принципи відновлення миру, які ми запропонували, повністю побудовані на статуті ООН, на ключових міжнародних документах. Тоді, у червні, коли 100 учасників зібрались, щоб підтримати мир для України і повну дієвість статуту ООН, дійсно відчувалося, що всі держави за столом рівні. Відчувалася справжня повага до норм міжнародного права. І саме таким має стати і другий саміт миру. Сьогодні провів і важливі наради з головкомом Сирським, начальником Генштабу Баргилевичем, міністром оборони України Умєровим. Деталі обговорили ситуації на фронті, на основних напрямках – Торецький, Покровський, Курахівський, Харківський та інші. Доповіді були не лише щодо обставин зараз і наших дій зараз, але й на перспективу, відповідно, забезпечення та озброєння, комплектування наших бригад. Окремо обговорили Курську операцію. Ми тримаємо там наші позиції. Я дякую кожному воїну за хоробрість. Ми маємо пам'ятати, що Курська операція забезпечує стратегічну мету. Війна має повертатись на території, звідки вона прийшла. Це справедливо, коли буферна зона створена на території агресора. І також Курська операція дозволила Україні зробити більш активну роботу щодо обмінів, повертати наших воїнів з російського полону. Кожен це бачить. Дякую всім бойовим бригадам, кожному підрозділу, які б'ються на передовій. І ще одне. Сьогодні провели необхідні підготовчі наради перед РНБО, багато нових деталей. На жаль, сотні епізодів порушень на різному рівні через нечесну роботу МСЕК. Будуть і системне, і кадрове, і процесуальне реагування. Слава Україні!
Героям слава.
Бажаю здоров'я, шановні.
yeah, 400 million in new aid that was secured today from the US, along with another 800 million to be invested inside Ukraine to produce arms and ammunition inside Ukraine. That is music to my ears, because that's when those production facilities are up and running. That is aid that cannot be withheld from Ukraine. As soon as it's produced, it's shipped, and it's in Ukraine already. That's the best thing to do. Not in the hands of the politician, not subject to elections coming up, not subject to anything else. Well, Poltava's been getting air alerts off and on all day. That's about the only place I've seen. Let's check. So, 2 new Shaheeds headed for Sumy. UAVs. So they got another 15 minutes or so to expect. Was a bomber launched at 7 p.m. my time, and it's 15 minutes till 10. They're expecting launches within 3 hours of that thing taking off, and then it has to land. So they got 15 more minutes before it has to land. So Poltava and Sumy have been pretty active throughout the day. In normal news, Russia to send North Korean deserters into Ukraine meet assault. This is the one I really caught my eye. South Korea summons Russian ambassador over over reports of North Koreans in So, called the Russian ambassador to the carpet Monday over North Korea's alleged deployments of troops to join Russian military in its war against Ukraine. The use of North Korean troops in the Ukraine conflict is a violation of UN Charter and General Assembly resolutions and threatens South Korea's security. There is still a state of active war between North Korea and South Korea. It's just been a very long ceasefire. The Korean minister said, "We condemn North Korea's illegal military cooperation, including its dispatch of troops to Russia, in the strongest terms. We will respond jointly with the international community by mobilizing all available means against acts that threaten our core security interests." Kind of put this in perspective, with South Korea and North Korea being in a ceasefire, not a signed peace. if hostilities kick off between North Korea and South Korea again, they signed an agreement with Russia to defend each other. So that means Russian troops could be in South Korea or be fighting against South Korea. And the US agreement with South Korea means we'll be fighting too. Just putting that out there that people think, oh, this stuff doesn't matter. South Korea is an ally. We have a defense agreement with them. They are in an active war. Even though there's been a 50 some odd year ceasefire, it's still an active war that we are part of. So this could easily be the flashpoint that drags the U.S. into it. So definitely need to keep an eye on this situation. Probably going to be a paywall, but I'm going to click on it anyways. Full-throated support for Ukraine's fight against Russia and delivered biting criticism of naysayers who might seek to end the conflict on Moscow's term. Way to go, Austin. Fully understand the moral chasm between the aggressor and defender. Austin said in a speech capping a day of meetings in Ukraine with President Zelensky and his top military leaders to hash out war strategy. We will not be gulled by the frauds and falsehoods of the Kremlin apologists. I'm liking this guy. We refuse to blame Ukraine for the Kremlin's aggression. We refuse to offer excuses for Putin's atrocities, and we refuse to pretend that appeasement will stop an invasion. If I was gay, I'd be in love with this guy. Mr. Austin, making his third wartime visit to Ukraine, did not mention former President Orange Suit, Orange Hair, whatever, in his critique, and has studiously sought to steer clear of partisan politics during his tenure as President Biden's top defense advisor. When asked if Mr. Austin included Mr. Trump in his critique, a Pentagon official said the secretary was referring broadly to those who push misinformation about Ukraine, and broadly are all over the world. So yes, it included him, but it included him with everybody. So Trump, more talking about Trump. Yeah, Trump blaming Zelensky for the Russia's invasion. Hey, I was on that train. Oh, wait a second. 34T? Hold on, where's my pictures? Okay, I don't want to show you all my pictures. Where is it? So, it was at night. It looks black, but it's that blue. But, see the other picture. No, my head's right in the way of the number. Because there's another number right here. But his shoulder's in the way of it, and my head's in the way of it in the picture. But that might actually be the same train car. Oh no, it's a different one. It's a different one. because it has that extra rib right below it, and mine didn't have that extra rib, but that would have been cool if it was the same one. Okay, yeah, everybody's picking on Trump, but he makes it really easy to do so. Do they stop talking about Russia or Russia has paid a staggering price for Putin's imperial war. Noting that Russia has failed to achieve a single one of its strategic goals after its launch its full-scale invasion of February 22nd. Indeed, September was the bloodiest month of the war for Russian forces in Ukraine, and according to U.S. assessments, Russian casualties of the war so far number as many as 615,000, with 115,000 killed and 500,000 wounded. U.S. and British military analysts put Russian casualties in September at an average of more than 1,200 a day. U.S. officials attribute the high number of Russian casualties to what they describe as a grinding war of attrition, with each side trying to exhaust the other by inflicting maximum losses, hoping to break the enemy's capacity and will to continue. Moscow seems undeterred by its astounding troop losses to achieve marginal gains. America and other Western analysts say, there's a reason. Russia does not consider its people an asset. Its Russian population is a tool for Moscow to use. Ukrainian soldiers holding position this month near Soledov. They're talking about here. So, there's a picture of those guys, the guys that are fighting there. And they got their Fanta and they got their Coke. In his meeting with Zelensky, Austin announced that the Pentagon would send Ukraine a new $400 million shipment of arms, including ammunition for HIMARS, additional munitions, armored vehicles, anti-tank weapons. The United States has provided Ukraine with more than $61 billion in security aid since the start of the war. Yeah, and about 55 million of that, probably 59 million of that billion, 61 billion, was spent in the U.S. making the stuff we send to Ukraine. Just to be perfectly clear, most of that money was spent in the U.S. We didn't send them $61 billion. We sent them equipment that we paid to manufacture. In recent days, Russian troops have clawed back much of the territory Ukraine seized in Russia's western Kursk region. Austin stressed the importance of defending Kursk and blunting the Russians' slow, grinding progress in the Donbas region of eastern Ukraine. Russia has significantly increased drone strikes against Ukrainian targets across the country. Attacks have increased from 350 strikes in July to 750 in August and 1,500 in September, and we're sitting here talking about 580 to 650 strikes a day now. Kurt's operation caught everybody by surprise. Besides bolstering morale, the incursion had two primary objectives: to force the Kremlin to divert soldiers from other parts of the front, which it has, easing pressure on the Ukrainian forces in Ukraine, and capture territory that Moscow will seek to reclaim, potentially forcing it to come to the negotiating table. A third objective that they're not talking about here is capturing not contract soldiers, but normal conscripts. Russia will trade anything to get those conscripts back because they are not supposed to be in Ukraine fighting for Ukraine. So there is a imperative for them to trade those soldiers as soon as they can to get the normal conscripts back to their families. So that's why we've been seeing an increased number of prisoner exchanges in the last month. Well, the first goal appears to have failed. No, it hasn't. Russia's pulled like 50,000 people from Luhansk up to Kursk. No, it hasn't forced Russia to the peace table either, but it is providing them high value prisoners for exchange. Ukraine still holds around 300 square miles. At the peak, they held about 400 square miles. Russia's intensifying air and ground attacks. Austin said in his speech that there was no silver bullet to turn the tide of the war in Ukraine's favor. What matters is the way that Ukraine fights back, he said. What matters is the combined effects of your military capabilities, and what matters is staying focused on what works. In a separate meeting with his Ukrainian counterpart, they discussed military planning for the upcoming winter and what kind of additional arms and munitions that the U.S. may send in the next 5 months. The Pentagon official said anonymously major point was in Zelensky's victory plan is ascension into NATO. You know, our U.S. officials balked at that, fearing it could drag the U.S. directly into the war. And to keep the restrictions of striking Russia. So, fairly good read. Dang, I was really hoping that was the same compartment I wrote in, but that would have been cool. Other news. UN exec got in. UN's chief got invited to BRICS summit in Russia. I hope he doesn't go. He'd be stupid if he does. Propaganda. Okay, why does Iran need to call in the favor? If the Russians are going to bail on this, it's going to have Iran has been one of Russia's few staunch allies throughout the war, but Tehran now faces a strain of indirectly fighting its nemesis Israel on two fronts. So, yeah, here's the other gateway to a global conflict. If Iran gets Russia's help with its clashes with Israel, that opens up a whole new thing. So it's an interesting speculation, but it's nothing more than that. There has been no actual ask by Iran yet for Russian aid, but it could be coming down the pipe. It could also not be coming down the pipe. So take it with a grain of salt. And we're back to stories we already looked into yesterday. That's the end of the news. Yeah, but I can pull it up again. So 1,710 losses today for Russia. 24 tanks, 64 armored personnel vehicles, 24 artillery systems, 1 anti-aircraft system, 46 UAVs, 47 vehicles, and 3 special equipment today. It's going to be interesting if this hits 1 million. And I don't think that's that far off. What, 320,000? Hope it doesn't go that long. At this rate, it's about 200 more days before Russia hits 1 million losses. I'm hoping it doesn't go another 200 days, but here we are, day 971. You know, hopes of it being a short war are pretty much long gone at this point. Yeah, I wish it would be shorter. But you also have to remember, Russia was expecting a 3-day war. I know it's not a popular thing for me to say, but I'm not worried about popular. It's my opinion and I'm entitled to it. Is Ukraine has already won. Because Russia figured they'd steamroll Ukraine in 3 days, install a puppet government, and be on to Moldova by now. So every day that Ukraine still exists is a victory, in my opinion. So whether they lose 1 meter of ground, gain a meter, gain 100 meters or 1,000 meters, every day that Ukraine still exists is a victory. And that's where I stand on that issue. Anything else I wanted to cover today? Oh, yes. I was watching Greg Terry's video before the stream, And he was talking about, he did the translation of Putin's speech. Let's see. So, one of the things they were talking about is, one of the things Putin was talking about was that they were fighting for the security of Russia. And I want to pull up, here it is, this map. When you're talking about the security of Russia, it's a big open plains area. They've never had the income to put in like an interstate system. They have a rail line that runs the entire country, and that's about it. For Russia to feel secure, they have to hold these blue gaps between, like the red splotches are barriers, Carpathian Mountains, the Caucasus Mountains, Caspian Sea, desert, so on and so forth. And there's 9 attack vectors into Russia. When the USSR broke up in 91, Russia controlled 1 of these vectors. In the 20-some years that Putin has been in power, he's conducted, I think it's 12 wars to regain. Kazakh intervention put Kazakhstan basically under, I wouldn't say a puppet government, but made Kazakhstan reliant on Russia. And that secured these 2. The 2 Chechen wars secured this one. The invasion of Georgia secured this one. The invasion of Crimea in 2014 secured this one. And all that's left is these 3. Go back here. Oh. So let's just focus in. Azerbaijan, Armenia, and Georgia, Crimea, Moldova, Poland, Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, Romania, of course, Moldova. For Russia to feel secure, it needs this gap here, this gap here, this gap here, and the coastline of the Baltic Sea. That's for Russia to feel secure. That's Russians' wanted security. You notice that this line doesn't line up with Ukraine. Okay, a little bit of it does. But if Russia takes over Ukraine, Moldova, Romania, Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia are all on the chopping block next. The Vistula River that goes right through Warsaw, down to Carpathians, the Carpathians into Romania, southern Moldova, and southern Odessa Oblast, Crimea, Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan. Well, guess what? NATO ally, NATO ally, NATO ally, NATO ally, NATO ally. If we don't give Ukraine the tools to stop Russia here, we will be in an active war with Russia. Probably not in the next 5 years, but 10, 15, 20. it's coming. Unless we help Ukraine now. And if we fail Ukraine and Russia takes it over, in 10, 15, 20 years, Russia will have brainwashed many Ukrainians, and now we'll be not only be facing the Russian meat waves, but the intelligent and intuitive and MacGyverish Ukrainians will be on Russian side. So just keep this in the back of your mind. When Russia talks about security, it's talking about taking over and forcing its rule over a population that's 3 times its size. Ukraine, Poland, all the, Kazakhstan, Georgia, Azerbaijan, Armenia. It wants to rule all those people just so it can say, we control the gaps. So, if you don't care about Ukraine, care about, your kids in 10, 15 years. And with that, unless you guys have anything else you want me to cover, any questions? No, he hasn't been back, KKGG. Sorry, I missed your question earlier. He wasn't really a troll. He was trying to argue a point with the phrase, if you don't know, I can't teach you. That's a very weak argument. And if you don't want to take the time to sit there and defend your position or even explain your position, I'm not going to waste my time with you. That was not today, but yesterday. Looks like you're all saying thanks for the stream, so I'm guessing that's going to be the end of it. Wait. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying now, LJ. Kind of already went over that, but besides a really good speech, 400 million in new military aid package. We're not sending them $4 million. We're sending them $4 million worth of stuff that we pay 2 American companies who employ American employees to manufacture HIMARS, artillery, APCs here in the United States, and then we're shipping those over to Ukraine. We're not sending them 400 million. Just, I just want to drive that home because certain people seem to think, we send them, plane loads of cash every time we send aid. No, we spend the cash here and we send them stuff. So yeah, 400 million in HIMARS ammo, artillery shells, vehicles, and I'm sure Patriot missiles are in that package as well. Yeah. I wish we sent over cash, because just to annoy certain people. But no, we don't send cash. It's like it was about 6 months ago. Britain did a 90 million euro it was a loan guarantee. It wasn't cash, it wasn't anything. They guaranteed a loan for Ukraine. They co-signed on a loan from the World Bank for Ukraine. No cash sent to them, no like check out of taxpayers' hands. They said, if Ukraine can't pay, we'll pay. Ukraine's been paying. UK hasn't had to pay anything on this. And there's still people in the UK harping about the 90 million that they sent to Ukraine. And no, you didn't send nothing to Ukraine. You co-signed on a loan. Oh, that's funny. I hope they win. I wish we did, because I would go to Maidan and sit there and try and catch my own bag. Let me see. Yeah, I don't see anything else that's really needed to be covered right now, so I'm going to say have a good night, everybody. Stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.
Czajkowski,